Shalom, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Yahuwah Elohim, and welcome. Welcome to our Pesach, our Passover study. Tonight, as we watch the sunset behind us, we will be observing Pesach, which is the Passover. So go ahead and grab your Bibles. I pray that you've prepared for this evening. But we're going to do a reading. So go ahead and grab your Bibles and we'll get started, okay? The sun's on its way down and we're going to be observing the Passover as soon as the sun goes down. So get ready, okay? All right, I'm going to grab a drink off my coffee. We'll get started. All right. Tonight's study will start in Exodus chapter 12, okay? So go ahead and turn to Exodus chapter 12, and we'll get started this evening, and I'll just guide you through the reading as we go. All right? All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our study this evening. I pray that you've all had a really good beginning to your week, and now it's time to observe the Passover. Okay? So get comfy and get settled in, and we'll get started. Okay? Okay, Shemoth, which is Exodus chapter 12. And if you're not reading along, I guess you can watch the sunset behind me, huh? I'd rather have you read along with me. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, This new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beings. According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Let the lamb be perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats. And you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings. So this evening. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread and with bitter herbs. They shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts, so the entire sheep. And do not leave of it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you eat it: your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesah of Yahuwah. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast. And on all the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahuwah throughout your generations. celebrated as a festival, an everlasting law. Everlasting law. Yep, that means forever. Verse 15, 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day is a set-apart gathering, holy. And on the 7th day you have a set-apart gathering. No work at all is done on them. Only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. And you shall guard the festival of Matzah. For on this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. So tonight is the full moon for 14 days from the new moon. Okay? For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses. For if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether sojourner or native of the land. Do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel, and said to them, Go out and take lambs for yourselves, according to your clans, and slay the Pesah. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintels and the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And you, none of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning. And Yahuwah shall pass on to smite the Mitzrites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and on the 2 doorposts. And Yahuwah shall pass over the door, and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be, when you come to the land which Yahuwah gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be, when your children say to you, What does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, It is the Pesah slaughtering of Yahuwah, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrayites and delivered our households, and the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. And the children of Israel went away and did so, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be at midnight that Yahuwah struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Mitzrayites. And there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night, and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve Yahuwah, as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. And the Mitzrayites were strong on the people, to hasten to send them away out of the land. For they said, We are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mitzrayites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments, And Yahuwah gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzraites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzraites. And the children of Israel set out from Rames to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, beside the little ones, and beside the women too. So all in all, there was between like 3 to 5 million people, plus the sojourners that were leaving Mitzrayim also. 38 and a mixed multitude went up with them too, as flocks and herds, very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim, and they had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mizraim was 430 years. And it came to be at the end of the 430 years, on that same day it came to be, that all the divisions of Yahuwah went out from the land of Mitzrayim. It is a night of watches unto Yahuwah for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is that night of watches unto Yahuwah for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. And Yahuwah said to Moshe and Aaron, This is the law of the Pesah. No son of a stranger is to eat of it. But any servant a man has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. No broken bones. Excuse me. Verse 47. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a stranger sojourns with you, and shall perform the Pesah to Yahuwah, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and perform it. And he shall be as a native of the land, but let no uncircumcised eat of it. There is one Torah for the native born, and for the stranger who sojourns among you. And all the children of Israel did as Yahuwah commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be on that same day that Yahuwah brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim according to their divisions. Chapter 13. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Set apart to me all the firstborn, the one opening the womb among the children of Israel, among man and among beast. It is mine. And Moshe said to the people, Remember this day in which you went out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. For by strength of hand Yahuwah brought you out of this place, and whatever is leavened shall not be eaten. Today you are going out in the new moon, Abib. And it shall be when Yahuwah brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this new moon. 7 days you eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day is a festival to Yahuwah. Unleavened bread is to be eaten the 7 days, and whatever is leavened is not to be seen with you, and leaven is not to be seen with you within all your borders. And you shall inform your son in that day, saying, It is because of what Yahuwah did for me when I came up from Mitzrayim. And it shall be as a sign to you on your hand, and as a reminder between your eyes, that the Torah of Yahuwah is to be eaten in your mouth. For with a strong hand Yahuwah has brought you out of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard this law at its appointed time from year to year. And it shall be when Yahuwah brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall give over to Yahuwah every one opening the womb, and every firstborn that comes from your livestock. The males belong to Yahuwah. But every firstborn of a donkey you are to ransom with the lamb. And if you do not ransom it, then you shall break its neck. And every firstborn of man among your sons you are to ransom. And it shall be when your sons ask you in times to come, saying, What is this? Then you shall say to him, By strength of hand Yahuwah brought us out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. And it came to be, when Pharaoh was too hardened to let us go, that Yahuwah killed every firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I am slaughtering to Yahuwah every male that opens the womb, but every firstborn of my sons I ransom. So they're to be given to Yahuwah to be holy, to serve Yahuwah. This is before the Levites. Before Yahuwah made the Levites to be set apart. Let's put it that way. Verse 16, And it shall be as a sign on your hand, and as frontlets between your eyes, for by strength of hand Yahuwah brought us out of Mitzrayim. And it came to be, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, though it was nearer. For Elohim said, Lest the people regret when they see fighting, and return to Mitzrayim. So Elohim led the people around by the way of the wilderness of the Sea of Reeds, and the children of Israel went up in fives from the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he certainly made the children of Israel swear, saying, Elohim shall certainly visit you, and you shall bring my bones from here with you. And they departed from Succoth, and camped in Etham, at the edge of the wilderness. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a column of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a column of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. The column of cloud did not cease by day, nor the column of fire by night before the people. Chapter 14. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they turn and camp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea opposite Baal-Zephon. Camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh shall say of the children of Israel, They are entangled in the land, the wilderness has closed them in. And I shall strengthen the heart of Pharaoh, and he shall pursue them, but I am to be esteemed through Pharaoh, and over all his army. And the Mitzrayites shall know that I am Yahuwah. And they did so. And it was reported to the sovereign of Mitzrayim that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So he made his chariot ready, and took his people with him. And he took 600 choice chariots, and all the chariots of Mitzrayim with officers over all of them. And Yahuwah strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and he pursued the children of Israel. But the children of Israel went out defiantly. And the Mitzrayites pursued them, and all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them camping by the sea, besides Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-Zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes and saw the Mitzrayites coming up after them, and they were greatly afraid. So the children of Israel cried out to Yahuwah. They were praying. Verse 11, and they said to Moshe, did you take us away to die in the wilderness because there are no burial sites in Mitzrayim? What is this you have done to us to bring us up out of Mitzrayim? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Mitzrayim, saying, leave us alone and let us serve the Mitzrayites? For it would have been better for us to serve the Mitzrayites than to die in the wilderness. And Moshe said to the people, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the deliverance of Yahuwah, which he does for you today. For the Mitzrayites, whom you see today, you are never, never to see again. Yahuwah does fight for you, and you keep silent. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, why do you cry to me? Speak to the children of Israel and let them go forward. And you lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and let the children of Israel go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I am strengthening the heart of the Mitzrayites, and they shall follow them. And I am going to be esteemed through Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the Mitzrayites shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I am esteemed through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the messenger of Elohim, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the column of cloud went before them and stood behind them. So the capital M messenger of Elohim, Yahusha, was also there. He was guarding their backs. He had their six. Verse 20, and it came between the camp of the Mitzrayites and the camp of Israel, and it was the cloud and the darkness, and it gave light by night, and the one did not come near the other all the night. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahuwah caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Mitzrayites pursued, and went after them into the midst of the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to be in the morning watch, that Yahuwah looked down upon the armies of the Mitzrayites through the column of fire and cloud, and he brought the army of the Mitzrayites into confusion. And he took off their chariot wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Mitzrayites said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for Yahuwah fights for them against the Mitzrayites. Then Yahuwah said to Moshe, stretch out your hand over the sea, and let the waters come back upon the Mitzrayites, on their chariots, and on their horsemen. And Moshe stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its usual flow at the break of day, with the Mitzrayites fleeing into it. Thus Yahuwah overthrew the Mitzrayites in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned, and covered the chariots and the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, and not even one was left of them. And the children of Israel walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right and on their left. Thus Yahuwah saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Mitzrayites, and Israel saw the Mitzrayites dead on the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which Yahuwah had done in Mitzrayim, and the people feared Yahuwah, and believed Yahuwah, and his servant Moshe. All right. Okay, gang, let's go ahead and we'll go, whoops, bumping the mic. We'll go to our next reading, which is in Psalms, okay? Psalm 91. Tehillim 91. Psalms 91, okay? All right, that gives you an idea of why we observe Pesah, okay? All right, and it gives you an explanation of how to observe Pesah and the festival of matzah, okay? Unleavened bread. All right? All right. Are you guys on Psalms 91? Okay. You know, all the children of Israel were all afraid. They thought that they were all going to die, that they didn't have any faith. Okay? All right. Psalm 91. He who dwells in that secret place of the Most High, who abides under the shadow of the Almighty, he is saying of Yahuwah, my refuge and my stronghold, my Elohim, in whom I trust. For he delivers you from the snare of a trapper, for the destructive pestilence. He covers you with his feathers, and under his wings you take refuge. His truth is a shield and armor. You are not afraid of the dread by night, of the arrow that flies by day, of the pestilence that walks in darkness, of destruction that ravages at midday. 1,000 fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it does not come near to you. Only with your eyes you look on, and see the reward of the wrong ones, because you have made Yahuwah my refuge, the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil befalls you, and a plague does not come near your tent, for he commands his messengers concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. They bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You tread upon lions and cobra, young lion and serpent you trample underfoot. Because he cleaves to me in love, therefore I deliver him. I set him on high, because he has known my name. When he calls on me, I answer him. I am with him in distress. I deliver him and esteem him. With long life I satisfy him and show him my deliverance. That's Psalm 91, okay? All right, and to wrap up our study, we're going to Matthew, Mattathayahu, chapter 26. So I'll give you a second to get there. Okay? All right. Did you find it? First book of the Renewed Covenant. Matthew. Okay. Chapter 26. And it came to be, when Yahusha ended all these words, he said to his taught ones, you know that after 2 days the Pesah takes place, and the son of Adam is to be delivered up to be impaled. Then the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people came together at the court of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and plotted to seize Yahusha by trickery and kill him. But they said, not at the festival, lest there be an uproar among the people. And when Yahusha was in Bethany, at the house of Simon the leper, Shimon the leper, a woman came to him, having an alabaster flask of costly perfume, and she poured it on his head, and he sat at the table. And when his taught ones saw it, they were much displeased, saying, "To what purpose is this waste? For this perfume could have been sold for much and given to the poor." However, when Yahusha noticed it, he said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a good work toward me. For you always have the poor with you, but me you do not have always. For in pouring this perfume on my body, she did it for my burial. Truly I say to you, whenever this good news is proclaimed in all the world, what this woman has done shall be spoken of also to her remembrance." Then one of the 12, called Yehuda from Kerioth, went to the chief priests and said, "What would you give me to deliver him to you?" And they counted out to him 30 pieces of silver. And from then on he was seeking an occasion to deliver him up. And on the first day of unleavened bread, the taught ones came to Yahusha, saying to him, "Where do you wish us to prepare for you to eat the Pesah?" And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man, and say to him, the teacher says, my time is near. I am to perform the Pesah at your house with my taught ones." And the taught ones did as Yahusha had ordered them, and prepared the Pesah. And when evening came, he sat down with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly I say to you, one of you shall deliver me up." And they were deeply grieved, and began to say to him, each of them, "Master, is it I?" And he answering said, "He who has dipped his hand with me in the dish, he shall deliver me up. Indeed, the Son of Adam goes, as it has been written concerning him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is delivered up. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born." Judas Iscariot. And Yehuda, Judas, he who delivered him up, answering said, "Rabbi, is it I?" He said to him, "You have said it." And as they were eating, Yahusha took bread, and having blessed, broke, and gave it to the taught ones, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And taking the cup, and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, that of the renewed covenant, which is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I shall certainly not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on till that day when I drink it anew with you in the reign of my Father." That verse right there, verse 29, it indicates to me that Yahusha had taken a Nazirite vow. Okay, remember we just went over that in Judges, the Nazirite vow, where he cannot partake in the grape, the raisin, the grape, wine, strong drink, anything, okay? It's purification. If he was under a Nazirite vow, it was to purify himself for the sacrifice, to be hung on the stake, on the staries, okay? And that's why, well, we'll get further into it, okay? But just keep that in your mind, okay? And having sung a song, this is verse 30, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Yahusha said to them, "All of you shall stumble in me this night, for it has been written, I shall strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered. But after I have been risen, I shall go before you into Galilee." And Kepha, answering, said to him, Even if all stumble in you, I shall never stumble. Kepha is Peter. Yahusha said to him, Truly I say to you that this night, before the cock crows, you shall deny me 3 times. Kepha said to him, Even if I have to die with you, I shall not deny you. All the taught ones said the same too. Then Yahusha came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and said to the taught ones, Sit here while I go over there and pray. And he took with him Kepha and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and he began to be grieved and deeply distressed. Then he said to them, My being is exceedingly grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. And going forward a little, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I desire, but as you desire. And he came to the taught ones and found them asleep, and said to Kepha, So, were you not able to watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into trial. The spirit indeed is eager, but the flesh is weak. And that's always the case. Our spirit is eager, but our flesh is weak. Verse 42, again he went away a second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it is impossible for this thing to pass unless I drink it, let your desire be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, went away again, and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then he came to his taught ones and said to them, Still sleeping and taking rest, see, the hour has come near, and the Son of Adam is delivered up into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. See, he who delivers me up has come near. And while he was still speaking, see, Yehuda, one of the 12, with a large crowd with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and elders of the people. And he who was delivering him up gave them a sign, saying, Whomever I kiss, it is him. Seize him. And going straight up to Yahusha, he said, Greetings, Rabbi, and kissed him. And Yahusha said to him, Friend, why have you come? Then they came and laid hands on Yahusha and seized him. And look, one of those with Yahusha put out his hand and drew his sword, and striking the servant of the high priest, he cut off his ear. That's pretty good swordmanship to just cut off his ear and not sink it into his shoulder. Peter was pretty good with that sword, because that's a big old Roman sword, very top heavy. Try it sometime. Try to just hit something with a big sword and not have it sink into whatever's below it. It takes talent. Verse 52, Then Yahusha said to him, Return your sword to its place, for all who take the sword shall die by the sword. Or do you think that I am not able to pray to my Father now, and he shall provide me with more than 12 legions of messengers? How then would the Scriptures be filled that it has to be this way? In that hour Yahusha said to the crowds, Have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to arrest me? Daily I sat with you, teaching in the set-apart place, and you did not seize me. But all this came to be, so that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the taught ones left him and fled. And those who had seized Yahusha led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were gathered together. But Caiaphas followed him at a distance to the courtyard of the high priest, and he went in and sat with the servants to see the end. And the chief priests and the elders And all the council were seeking false witness against Yahusha to put him to death, but found none. Although many false witnesses came forward, they found none. But at last 2 false witnesses came forward and said, this one said, I am able to destroy the dwelling place of Elohim and to build it in 3 days. And the high priest stood up and said to him, have you no answer to make? What do these witnesses against you? But Yahushua remained silent. So the high priest said to him, I put you to oath by the living Elohim that you say to us if you are the Messiah, the Son of Elohim. Yahushua said to him, you have said it. Besides, I say to you, from now you shall see the Son of Adam sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of the heaven. Then the priest tore his garments, saying, he has blasphemed. Why do we need any more witnesses? See, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? And they answered, saying, he is liable to death. Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others slapped him, saying, prophesy to us, Messiah, who is the one who struck you? And Kepha sat outside in the courtyard, and the servant girl came to him, saying, and you were with Yahusha in Gilgal. But he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you say. And as he was going out into the porch, another girl saw him and said to those there, and this one was with Yahusha of Nazareth. But again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while, those who stood by came to him and said to Kepha, truly you are one of them too, for even your speech gives you away. Then he began to curse and to swear, saying, I do not know the man. And immediately the cock crowed. And Kepha remembered the words of Yahusha, who had said to him, before a cock crows, then you shall deny me 3 times. And going out, he wept bitterly. Chapter 27. And morning having come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Yahusha, so as to put him to death. And having bound him, they led him away, and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Yahuda, he who delivered him up, having seen that he had been condemned, repented, returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priest and to the elders, saying, I have sinned in delivering up innocent blood. And they said, what is that to us? You see to it. And throwing down the pieces of silver in the dwelling place, he left, and went and hanged himself. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, it is not right to put them into the treasury, seeing they are the price of blood. So they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field for the burial of strangers. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood until this day. Then was filled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him who was pierced, on whom they of the children of Israel set a price, and gave them for the potter's field, as Yahuwah had ordered me. And Yahusha stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, are you the sovereign of the Yehudim? And Yahusha said to him, you say it. And as he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he answered not. Then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how much they witness against you? And he did not answer him, not one word, so that the governor wondered much. And at the festival the governor used to release to the crowd one prisoner whom they wished. And they had then a well-known prisoner called Barabbas. So when they were assembled, Pilate said to them, "Whom do you wish I release to you, Barabbas or Yahushua, who is called Messiah?" For he knew that because of envy they had delivered him up. And as he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, "Have none at all to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much today in a dream because of him." But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds that they should ask for Barabbas and to destroy Yahushua. And the governor answering said to them, "Which of the two do you wish I release to you?" They said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "What then shall I do with Yahushua, who is called Messiah?" They all said to him, "Let him be impaled." And the governor said, "Indeed, what evil has he done?" And they were crying out all the more, saying, "Let him be impaled." And when Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but rather an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of the blood of this righteous one. You shall see to it." And all the people answering said, "His blood be on us and on our children." Then he released Barabbas to them, but having Yahushua whipped, he delivered him over to be impaled. Then the soldiers of the governor took Yahushua into the court and gathered the entire company of soldiers around him. And having stripped him, they put a scarlet robe on him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they kneeled down before him and mocked him, saying, "Greetings, sovereign of the Yehudim." And spitting on him, they took the reed and struck him on the head. When they had mocked him, they took the robe off of him, then put his own garments on him, and led him away to be impaled. And as they were going out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simeon by name. They compelled him to bear his stake. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, they said that is to say, place of a skull, they gave him wine mixed with bile to drink. After tasting, he would not drink it. So there's another indicator that he was under a Nazirite vow. And having impaled him, they divided his garments, casting lots that it might be filled what was spoken by the prophets. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. And sitting down, they guarded him there, and they put over his head the written charge against him, "This is Yahushua, the sovereign of the Yehudim." Then 2 robbers were impaled with him, one on the right and another on the left. And those passing by were blaspheming him, shaking their heads, and saying, "You who destroy the dwelling place and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of Elohim, come down from the stake." And likewise the chief priests with the scribes and elders mocked, saying, "He saved others. He is unable to save himself. If he is the sovereign of Yisrael, let him now come down from the stake, and we shall believe him. He trusted in Elohim. Let him rescue him now if he desires him. For he said, 'I am the Son of Elohim.'" And also the robbers who were impaled with him reviled him, saying the same. And from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Yahushua cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," That is, my El, why have you forsaken me? Some of those standing there, having heard, said, This one calls to Eliyahu. And immediately one of them ran, and took a sponge, and filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed, and gave to him to drink. But the rest said, Leave it. Let us see if Eliyahu comes to save him. And Yahusha cried out again with a loud voice, and gave up his spirit. And see, the veil of the dwelling place was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth was shaken, and the rocks were split, and the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the set apart ones who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the set apart city, and appeared to many. And when the captain of those with him, who were guarding Yahusha, saw the earthquake and all that took place, they feared exceedingly, saying, Truly this was the Son of Elohim. And many women who followed Yahusha from Galilee, attending him, were there, watching from a distance, among whom were Miriam from Magdala, and Miriam, the mother of Jacob and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's sons. And when evening came, there came a rich man from Ramathaim, named Joseph, who himself had also become a taught one of Yahusha. He went to Pilate, and asked for the body of Yahusha. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given. And having taken the body, Joseph wrapped it in clean linen, and laid it in his new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb, and went away. And Miriam from Magdala was there, and the other Miriam, sitting opposite the tomb. On the next day, which was after the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together to Pilate, saying, Master, we remember, while he was still alive, how that deceiver said, After 3 days I am raised. Command then that the tomb be safeguarded until the 3rd day, lest his taught ones come by night and steal him away, and should say to the people, He was raised from the dead, and the last deception shall be worse than the first. So Pilate said to them, You have a watch. Go, safeguard it as you know how. And they went and safeguarded the tomb, sealing the stone and setting the watch. Chapter 28. But late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week, Sunday, Miriam from Magdala and the other Miriam came to see the tomb. And see, there was a great earthquake, for a messenger of Yahuwah came down out of heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. Okay, now we got to remember, it wasn't Sunday. It wasn't Sunday, because there was a day of preparation in between the Pesah, a day of preparation, then the Sabbath, okay? There was a high holy day there. Okay, so we got to go 3 days. Okay, see how that works? Sundown to sundown to sundown to sundown. 3 days. Okay, so Passover was on a Wednesday. Okay, and then the sun went down on Thursday. He was hung on the stake on Thursday. And then Friday was the day. Wow, this is confusing. Let's try this again. Sundown to sundown. So if the Pesah was eaten and the sun went down, then we are on the first high holy day, then a day of preparation, and then the Sabbath. Okay? So there was a day in between. So Friday was in between. This is Hebrew calendar that we're dealing with, not the Gregorian calendar, so we got to remember that. So the seventh day was the Sabbath, and then one day, sun up, sundown, or sundown, sundown, 2 days, sundown, sundown. So if he was put on the stake, on the staries, on Pesach, then the next day was a day of preparation, and then the Sabbath. Okay? So it had to have been a Thursday that he was placed on the stake. And then Friday would have been the day of preparation, and then Saturday would have been the seventh day. Okay? So that gives you that he was in the tomb Thursday sundown to Friday sundown, Saturday from Friday sundown to Saturday, and then from Saturday sundown to Sunday sundown would have been 3 days. So then first thing Monday morning before the sun came up, right? Tell me what you think. Count the days out yourself. Remember, sundown to sundown. Tell me what you think, okay? I need to know what everybody thinks on this, because this is highly contested. So let's see what everybody else comes up with. That's what I come up with, okay? All right, let's keep going here. Verse 2, and see, there was a great earthquake, for the messenger of Yahuwah came down from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat on it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his garments as white as snow. And the guards trembled for fear of him, and became like dead men. And the messenger responding said to the women, do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Yahusha, who was impaled. He is not here, for he was raised, as he said. Come, see the place where the Master lay. And go quickly, say to his taught ones that he was raised from the dead, and see, he was going before you to Galilee. There you shall see him. See, I have told you. And they left the tomb quickly, with fear and great joy, and ran to report to his taught ones. And as they were going to report to his taught ones, see, Yahusha met them, saying, greetings. And they came and held him by the feet, and did bow to him. Then Yahusha said to them, do not be afraid. Go report to my brothers to go to Galilee, and they shall see me there. And while they were going, see, some of the watch, having gone into the city, reported to the chief priests all that took place. And when they came together with the elders, and taken counsel, they gave enough silver to the soldiers, saying, say that his taught ones came at night, and stole him away while we slept. Modern Jewish belief. Verse 14, and if this should be reported to the governor, we shall win him over and keep you out of trouble. And having taken the silver, they did as they were instructed, and this account was widely spread among the Yehudim to this day. And the 11 taught ones went away into Galilee, to the mountain which Yahusha had appointed for them. And when they saw him, they bowed to him, but some doubted. And Yahusha came up and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth as it is in heaven. Verse 19, therefore go and make taught ones of all the nations, immersing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the set apart Spirit, teaching them to guard all that I have commanded you. And see, I am with you always until the end of the age. Amen. And that gives us the beginning, the first Pesah, and it gives us the Passion, which happened during Pesah. Pesah is a very important day. It's very important for us to observe it. Let's do it right, okay? If you need help in doing this, if you need help, with any of the set-apart days or feasts or festivals, go back to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23 is detailed, and it explains all of the high holy days and feasts so that we can understand them, okay? If you want, go ahead and pull up in the playlists, go to Leviticus and pull up the video with chapter 23 in it. Excuse me. And that way you'll get a good overview of how we're supposed to be doing these things. I know a lot of us are new at this because we have been deceived our entire lives into thinking that none of this matters, to believing that in Easter, and Easter is not the resurrection. Easter is a lie, and it's giving praise and worship to Ishtar, who is a Mitzrayite goddess of fertility. Rabbits pooping eggs. And Christmas is bowing down to the phallic symbol, the green tree of Nimrod. Look that one up. It is not the birthday of Yahusha. It's all pagan. And we have been led to believe that this is what we're supposed to be doing, and it's not. Please, refer to Leviticus 23. We know not the day in which Yahusha was born. There's a lot of things that point to the fact that it may have been on Pesach, because the inns in Bethlehem were full. Bethlehem was the center of commerce below Jerusalem. And everybody was buying. That's why the shepherds were in the fields tending their flocks, is because everybody was coming into Bethlehem to buy a sheep to go up to Jerusalem to observe the Pesah. Okay? I don't really have any solid proof to prove that, but that's what it implies to me. What does it imply to you when you read it? You know? I believe that Pesach is a very pivotal day. Very pivotal. And because Yah likes reoccurring dates and numbers and times, to me it just makes sense. But I don't know. I don't have any solid proof. But we do know when is the Pesach. And we do know how to observe it. So now all we have to do is practice it. Our whole lives we have practiced Christmas. We have practiced Easter. We have practiced all of these pagan holidays to where it just comes naturally for us. It's time for change. Time to unlearn where we have been lied to in the past. and time to relearn what Yahuwah, our Elohim, wants for us. His set apart days, His feasts and festivals, His holidays. Okay? Alright, gang, I'm not going to keep you from your family because tonight is a very special day. So, go and enjoy your Pesach meal. Now that you know how to do it, because you've already read through Leviticus 23 and you know how to do it, go enjoy your meal. Spend time with your family and your children. Teach them. Teach your children. Not Christmas or Easter. Teach your children what Yahuwah's holy days are. Let's start over and let's do it right. Alright, gang. Bless each and every one of you that are seeking knowledge and wisdom through Yahuwah Elohim. All of you. And I will see you tomorrow night for our midweek Bible study. Okay? Alright. Y'all take care, and we'll see you then. Shalom.